Hey guys, hey Kingdom Dream Chasers, right? So I want to bring this podcast episode to you. We're going to be talking about time versus money, but specifically, I want to start off with when I'm working with clients, and I probably told you this before, but if I could just look at their calendar, their weekly calendar, the weekly tasks that they have been doing, I can usually assess, and you could too. I can usually assess where the problems are because what we spend our time on is where we're going to see fruit or lack thereof. And here's a couple things for you. 80%, you know the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule. 80% of your results in your business, and I'm not just talking about financial results, all right? But of course, outcomes, the amount of impact that you're having, the amount of income that's coming in, revenue, your ability to track your expenses and have a quality of life during the week. 80% of the results that you're getting are coming from 20% of your activities. All right. And that's just like a boom. If you will do some deep work, that's a thing. Spend at least a couple hours a week of uninterrupted time, really going deeper as to what are those 20% of activities, the things that light me up, the things that give me joy, the things that I'm called to do. Most of us as kingdom entrepreneurs are lit up by serving women, being in their presence online, but eyeball to eyeball, having conversations, helping them to get transformation, helping them to first feel hope and then to watch that hope turn into actions that you give them, and then they start seeing results. So anything outside of that, for a lot of us, can sometimes feel like a drag. Like, oh, I just the social media marketing, that could be your thing, or it could be the tech that is your thing that just feels heavy and hard. And so we're going to be talking about different strategies and things that can really help you when it comes to this concept of what are those 20% of activities that are really giving you 80% of your results. Now, one of the tools I'm going to be talking about today is a time journal. It's a powerful tool, but before we get there, first need to ask you this question. This was a game changer for me, and it sounds there's like a superficial kind of answer to it, but I'm challenging you to do some deep work around it and literally go deeper on it because your subconscious is making decisions for you every day based on what you believe about what I'm about to ask you. And that is, what is more valuable? Time or money? For most of us, instinctively, what we've been taught is that money is more valuable than time. And because we always kind of feel like I've got tomorrow, I can do it later, right? I can do it later. We procrastinate. I'll be able to do this next week. And I'm not saying that some tasks don't need to be moved off. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm talking about is in our subconscious, what is more valuable, time or money? But here's the truth. Let me ask it this way. What can you get more of? Which resource, because they're both resources from God. Time is a resource, a gift from Him. Money is a resource, a gift from Him. Which of those can we get more of? Now that's where the rubber hits the road. We cannot get more time. It's the great equalizer. You and I both have 24 hours in this day, and how we choose to use that 24 hours is going to be the difference between the results that you get and that I get. Now, I'm not just talking about results in a financial way in your business, but of course those are results. I'm talking about results in your relationships, results in your health, the way we use the 24 hours of time that we have, the decisions that we make, and the actions that we take, that is going to be the fruit or the lack thereof of our life. When our calendar reveals that we are repeatedly doing something that isn't bearing fruit, it's often because we're just not taking time to pull back and do an audit about the week. What worked well? What do I want to change for next week? And this is what I want you to hear if you don't hear anything else. We have been given authority to control our time. You are not a victim to your time. You have the ability to make decisions and say, this is what I will do today. This is what I will not do today. I will scroll from this period of time to this period of time, but I won't scroll any other time of the day. You have the ability to make that choice and take dominion over the tool, the resource of social media that God has given you to drive your business, to amplify your voice so that others can see and find you. Now, um, let's go back to this concept of, well, let me talk about this time and money thing for a little bit more. So, what happens when you deeply understand, not just superficially, all right, but when you deeply understand that your time is more valuable than your money, what you will do is you will hire someone. Now, some of you might be like, woohoo, I'm already hiring somebody. Because what you've come to discover, the truth that if you really evaluate whatever products you sell, whatever commissions you make, whatever you have, when you spend your time focusing on building relationships in order to invite women into those product journeys with you, whatever it is, course, program, whatever, and you earned income, that you spending your time on that is far more valuable than you spending time on some of these other low level tasks that are actually wasting your time and keeping you from the very revenue impactful activities that you could be doing. So when we look at our time, we start to see, okay, my time, you can quantify it. I know this is uncomfortable, but you can quantify, you can say, you know what, based on what I sell and how if I had the time to be focused on that, I could sell X amount of week, divide that out. My time is really worth 100 an hour, 200 an hour, 300 an hour, whatever that is. Um, and therefore, I am very willing to spend 50 if I'm worth not worth, none of us are worth money. But if my time is worth $300 an hour based on the products that I sell, and then I can make a very easy decision that spending $50 on a high level VA, a virtual assistant who's going to be able to do a lot of background work for me is a really worthy investment. Why? Because when she's doing that, I'm making $250. Are you with me on that? If my time is worth 300 and I'm doing tasks that a $50 an hour person can do, I'm wasting $250 an hour. All right. And once you really start to understand that in your business, you will start doing and finding those 20% activities, and you will start farming out some of these other things. You'll start also being able to look at your calendar and say, whoa, this particular thing keeps repeating. It keeps showing up again and again. This could be in your health. It could be in your relationships. It could be in your spiritual life. It could be in your business. When you see something reoccurring again and again, an example, Gail, I'm just always inconsistent with my social media. I start and I get going and then I stop and I pull back. That is a pattern. It's a pattern coming from a thought, usually in your subconscious. All right. And until you deal with that, that pattern is not going to change. You could bring that up in your marriage. You could bring it up in your health. You could bring it up in your business. So how do we discover what to do? It's the answers are in your calendar. The answers are in what do you do Sunday through Saturday? Where do you spend your time? What time is lighting you up? What time are you spending that's actually bringing you joy, lighting you up, giving you energy, making you feel healthy, knowing that you're nourishing the temple, you're nourishing your body, you're nourishing your mind, you're spending time with the Lord. All of the activities, you're spending time in your marriage. All of those things are keeping you in alignment so that you can have much less stress during the week, because those things are already taken care of. They're in alignment with what God's asked you to do. And so anything that we do as a kingdom entrepreneur, if we're not doing it with joy, if we're not doing it, I'm not saying every moment, but ultimately, big picture, if it's not driving me with joy and excitement, and even when I hit an obstacle and it's like, "Ugh," okay, but I'm like, all right, Lord, I know you have a growth opportunity for me here in this obstacle. You're using this for my good in order for me to be able to be more efficient, be more effective. Sometimes it's the very obstacles, some of the most difficult things that we go through that are the very things that equipped us and prepared us for that next level he was trying to take us to. So all of this, guys, is revealed in your calendar. So now I'm going to give you a really practical tool. How many of you have heard about the food journal? If you've ever had a health coach, she probably asked you when you started, you know what? I want you just to start journaling what you're eating, keeping track of what you're eating. It's a powerful, powerful exercise because we are disconnected. Stay with me. This is really good. We are disconnected from a lot of the habits that we're making daily about eating. It's just something that we do. We don't make a lot of we don't have a lot of conscious thoughts about it. And if you asked me, if you're not doing a food journal and you asked me what you ate 2 days ago, you'd probably be like, I have no idea. Sometimes you don't even know what you ate last night. And you forgot about, oh yeah, but if then I had those raspberries and then I had that bowl of cereal. All right. Because we do things in a subconscious way without really being really aware that we're doing it. So food journaling is super powerful. After a week of food journaling, you're like, whoa, now I kind of understand what's going on, right? Or wow, I have a health coach and she will say, like, notice what's making you feel bloated. Notice what combinations, what's going on. And so the more you food journal, the more you start to see, that was really good, that I felt healthy, I felt light, I felt nourished. That didn't work. All right. And so you become really aware. Therefore, the choices that I'm going to make are going to be much healthier. They're going to be in that 20% because I'm now understanding that 20% of what I'm eating is giving me 80% of the results that I'm looking for. So I need to zone in on those 20% foods that are nourishing, that are giving me the protein. Okay. Now, so this is the same concept with a time journal. Now, the coach that recommended this to me actually recommended you do it for 30 days. And he said, if you do this for 30 days, it will absolutely change your results dramatically. And it's the same concept as the food journal. It's being willing. There's the word. There it is. There's the rub. Being willing to track what you're doing on a daily basis. So if you wake up at 6, what did you do from 6 to 8? What did you do from 8 to 10? What did you do from 10 to 12? What were those activities? All right. And it's if you can remove yourself emotionally from the exercise and just look at it and you're an auditor and you're auditing a business, because if you're a kingdom entrepreneur, you are your business. All right. So if you're auditing the business, what's happening is you're discovering you're the inventory, right? What is selling? What is working well? What is getting results? What needs to be cut out? What is wasted time, right? So you're taking inventory. It is an incredible exercise. So when you're tracking it, you're discovering, wow, that was worth my time. That was not worth my time. You also start discovering, here's another little tool. There's a joy quadrant, really, when it comes to our business. And the upper right quadrant is high joy, high impact. That means you're doing things that actually bring real impact to your clients. Those activities bring real impact to your clients. So that would be like coaching, one-on-one calls, group calls, individual follow-ups, things like that. Those are high impact, but it brings you joy. If it does bring you joy, but it brings you joy. All right. That's the quadrant of activities we want to be spending most of our time in. 80% of our time should be spent there. All right. But sadly, the other quadrant on the complete opposite is low impact and low results, which means that it's very little interaction with clients. So there's very low impact. And perhaps it's a necessary thing. Sometimes it's not even necessary, but it might be necessary. But could someone else be doing it and taking it off your plate, allowing you to spend more of your time up in that quadrant, which is where your revenue is coming from? Yes. All right. So that's the first thing you want to cut out. Are those things. And then you can figure out what the two middle ones are. But the concept there is what I want you to grasp is when you start valuing your time more than money. And here's another example on that as we're wrapping up. You can go, I already said we all have 24 hours, right? It's the great equalizer. No one can get more time. All right. We like to say, oh, I can do that tomorrow. I will put it off. But how I steward this 24 hours matters. The actions that I'm taking in this 24 hours matters. And both to my spiritual life, to my relational life with the people that I love and serve, for my financial life, all of those things. Okay. Now, when we're talking about your ability to track your activities, you've got to understand that you could literally go today. You have the capacity to increase your income by selling something. All right. Um, you could go down to your basement right now. Maybe you have a basement. Maybe you've got an old bed down there that you're like, what am I doing with this thing? Need some, put it on Facebook Marketplace. You might make $50 today. You might make $100 today, whatever it is. You might have an old ping pong table that no one's been playing on for 3 years and you keep thinking, I'm going to keep it. But every time your family comes, no one's playing on it. Sell the blasted thing, right? You have the ability to make money today. All right. Um, and spending your time on those activities, time will always be more valuable than making that money because you can replace your money. You can add to your money any day you choose to by doing the activities and spending most of your time on the activities that bring about impact and income. But when we waste our time doing many other things that someone else could be helping us with, all right, then what we're choosing is to value time, to value money over time. Time will always win. All right. And we are called to steward well the time that we've been given. It is precious. And when you start, what happens? What are some real life things? When you start valuing, I said one, when you start valuing time more than money, you will hire someone. When you start valuing time more than money, you will stop scrolling as much. When you start valuing time more than money, you will sleep a good 7 to 8 hours a night because you understand that in order for you to have the energy to do the activities that are going to bring the impact and the income, you've got to nourish that body well, and it desperately needs sleep. So you start valuing time. We stop being like flippant with it, with the procrastinating and, oh, I'll do it later, right? It's the same with our body. So I pray this was a blessing. Let me do a quick recap. Time is always greater than money. You can always replace money. You can never replace time. There are flags for you to know. If you're valuing one over the other, you'll know. There are things that you can do. Start the time journal. Look at your calendar. Become intimately aware, and then become fiercely willing to make the changes so that your time is being spent on those 20% activities that are bringing in 80% of your results in every area of your life. All right, guys, have a beautiful day. By the way, down below, always an opportunity to book a call and connect and check out the live events that are coming the rest of the month.